Black people was like, I bet. And we have been betting Target ever since I ain't stepped foot in a Target. In fact, I told y'all how I had something to return after the Target boycott had been announced. And then I was ashamed to go return it, but I wanted my money back and I didn't have a receipt. So I went in there with my hoodie on and a face mask. And I was like, I just need my money back. And if you can't give me my money back, you can just keep it. Cause I did not want to be seen coming out of Target looking like I had bought something. That is how committed I have been. And so we recognized that there was some kerfluffle about this because then the faith-based community got involved and they had a fast. We had a boycott and we had a fast. And then they ended the fast because I guess they was hungry, but we kept the boycott going. And the boycott's still going.
Okay, so before I give Jay-Z a hard time, let me just say this. Target want that old thing back. Target is outside with a boombox like, please come and holler at me. Please take me back, Black community. Target is not just outside with a boombox. Target is on its knees with roses. Target is like, now how do we win the Black community back? Put DEI back, or we just say, hey, you know what? We are 4 Black women. They say, you know what? They want reasonable doubt. That's what they want.
Jay-Z, this is fucked up on so many levels because one of two things happened. Either Target approached Jay-Z and offered him a whole lot of money, which I highly doubt, or Jay-Z saw an opportunity. He saw the void that is Black people not shopping at Target, and he pitched to Target, you know what? I'm the Black culture. I got this huge cult-like following. If y'all give me a shitload of money, I will team up with y'all exclusively to do this. And it's like, Jay-Z, you leveraged the boycott and the struggle of our people who were attempting to put Target in their place. You leverage that for your own personal gain. And it's fucked up, especially considering that you are not some low-level rapper who needs the money.
I guess after Jamal Bryant failed to bring us back to Target, they decided to bring in the big guns with Jay-Z. So it seems that Jay-Z has released a exclusive vinyl with Target for the 30th anniversary of his Reasonable Doubt album. And as with most things, it seems as if whenever Black people are boycotting something, Jay-Z swoops in to go against what we're doing to try to get us to align with the white folks. And if you've been paying attention, this has been a pattern. And if you've been reading the e-files, you know that in the files, they clearly call out that when they want to get the Black folks in line, they just call this man because he has such a hold on the community that we'll fall in line. But what they don't understand is we're not falling for that anymore. So see, what y'all tried to do was you dropped a little thing with Louis Hamilton, a Black guy. You thought it was going to get us in there, but we don't give no damns about him. And he can go on and be with the Kardashians and live his life. Then you tried to get Jamal Bryant in here, and you thought that him coming out and saying that the boycott was over would make us come back to the stores. And that didn't work because we told you we ain't listening to Jamal Bryant. He ain't running the boycott and we ain't coming back. So now what do? You guys do what you always do. These white corporations, y'all think that Jay-Z is the answer because y'all swear we love him and Beyonce so much that we will just fold. You bring in the big guns and have him out here and do an exclusive deal with you to try to get Black people back in the stores. And now I'm seeing articles asking, are we still boycotting or not? Yeah, we're still boycotting. We're going to keep boycotting. We're not going back to Target. I don't care who you put in the store. Jay-Z could be there signing photographs himself. And the real ones ain't going back to the store. And if the people do go back to the store, well, we know Harriet would have left a lot of people behind. So they fall into that category. But there is nothing that we're going to do to get us back in the stores. All this is showing is, like I saw another article, every time we boycott, he wants to come in and be the end to that boycott. He did the same thing with the NFL. Came in and swooped in. Oh, we don't need to be doing this. This will be great. And we've gotten zero progress. Matter of fact, there's less Black coaches now than there were probably back then. So we're not falling for this. And honestly, the fact that he would do this and go against what Black people are saying for a boycott tells us everything we need to know about this man. It's money first, Black second.
Jay-Z has consistently showed us time after time again that for him it's going to be partnership over principle. We remember when he backdoored Dame Dash, when he made those partnerships in his own favor. Then we seen when Colin Kaepernick was going through it with the NFL and ended up being blackballed. He didn't come to his defense. And now right in the middle of our very own people, his very own people, being in the middle of a Target boycott, he is partnering with Target. And so I think what the biggest issue is here, that we look for these quote unquote iconic people that so many idolize to be leaders. And for them, it's only about legacy building, and that's their own legacy. Forget the people.
Ooh, come on. Come on. I am so sick and tired of watching some of our Black men become sellouts for their personal gain, but at the expense of the Black community. Jay-Z, You partnering with Target was a big F you. You know why? Because you're a billionaire. So it's not like you need the money. You're constantly talking about black liberation, and you decided out of anybody, you could have partnered quite literally with anybody. And you decided to partner with Target, the one store that we have been boycotting. You decided to partner with them. And I already know how the deal went. I'll give you bukus of money if you can get these ignorant minions back in my store. And all you said was bet. It's actually an insult to our intelligence for you to think that at a snap of a finger, just because you selling some shit at Target, we're going to run back and start buying stuff from them. And it just don't sit well with me, because it's giving the aura of, I know I'm bigger than the program. I know I can do whatever because I'm the culture and they will follow me. It's just so disgusting and disheartening.
Man, this y'all go. Mind you, bro, black people been boycotting Target since Trump got in office, because as soon as Trump got in office, they abolished their DEI programs. I wasn't part of the boycott because, hey, man, Target them ones. But cool, y'all was boycotting Target. Cool, old heads too, right? And here comes Captain Saberho, want to do an exclusive deal with Target to sell his vinyls. Like, this man can't get numbers on his own. He has to bundle his music up with vinyls, with exclusive deals, with Sprint and all them to get his numbers off, bro. Dude, get it out the mud. Just drop your record, drop your tracks, no bundles, no vinyls. And you doing it with Target? Like, Target called him and paid him a bag. Hey, listen, we losing the black people. We need you to come save us. If you do a bundle with us, they'll get us back in black folks' good graces. And he said yes. Sell out, man. This man is not for the people, not for the culture, man.
Let me paint you a picture. It's June 2026. Black Americans have been boycotting Target for over a year. Not a little quiet boycott, a real one. A boycott that has cost Target billions of dollars in lost revenue, stock prices falling, shareholders shaking. The kind of boycott that actually makes a corporation feel the pain. And then, out of nowhere, one of the most famous black men on the planet walks into a room with Target executives, sits down at the table, shakes their hand, and signs a deal. Not just any man, not some unknown artist desperate for exposure. Jay-Z, Sean Carter, hip-hop legend, billionaire, the man who has spent decades rapping about black excellence, black wealth, black power, the man whose wife is arguably the most famous black woman in the world. That Jay-Z partnered with Target exclusively during an active boycott, while his own people were fighting to make Target feel what it means to mess with black dollars. And the internet, it exploded. But here's the thing, and this is what this video is really about. A lot of people were surprised, a lot of people were shocked, a lot of people felt betrayed. But some people said, we've seen this before. Because if you've been paying attention to Jay-Z's moves over the years, not just the music, not just the Forbes covers, but the actual decisions behind closed doors, this wasn't shocking at all. On June 1st, Target announced a partnership with Jay-Z to release a special 30th anniversary edition of his 1996 debut album, Reasonable Doubt, all available exclusively through Target stores and Target.com starting June 26th. The whole campaign is branded Jay-Z 30. Now, if you don't know the history of Reasonable Doubt, let me give you some quick context. That album is not just a piece of music. It's considered one of the greatest hip-hop albums ever made. Jay-Z's introduction to the world. The album that launched one of the most successful careers in music history. 30 years later, he's celebrating it. And honestly, nothing about celebrating Reasonable Doubt is wrong. The album deserves every anniversary it gets. The problem is not the album. The problem is the partner, the timing, and what both of those things say to the black community that had been in an active fight to hold Target accountable. So why were people boycotting Target in the first place? Going back to 2020, when the country was shaken by George Floyd's unaliving and the Black Lives Matter movement was at its peak, corporations were falling over themselves to show support for Black America. Target was one of them. They made a very public, very large pledge, $2 billion, committed to support black-owned businesses, black communities, and black employees. They also put DEI programs in place, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives specifically designed to create more opportunities for people who had historically been left out. The black community said, okay, we're watching, we're taking note. 5 years passed, that $2 billion never came. Not all of it, not even most of it. And then when DT came back into office and began dismantling DEI across corporate America, Target didn't just quietly comply. They used it as an excuse, as cover, as a reason to walk away from the promises they made when it was politically convenient to make them. Black consumers had that message loud and clear, and they responded the only way that actually makes corporations listen: with their wallets, and the boycott began. People stopped shopping at Target, not just a few hundred people, millions of consumers making a deliberate choice to take their money elsewhere, and it worked. Target's numbers dropped, their stock took hits. That is the backdrop. That is the exact environment Jay-Z walked into when he announced this deal on June 1st. So today, we are going to break down exactly what happened, why it happened, why so many Black Americans are calling Jay-Z a sellout, and what this whole situation really says about Black wealth, Black loyalty, and the cost of keeping a community behind you when the money gets big enough. Stay with me, because this one is going to go deep. But before we proceed, all credit goes to the creators of these videos. You'll find all their handles in my description box. But for now, let me play you a few more clips, and then I'll be back with my commentary.
Has the veil lifted? Are we finally seeing who this man is, or are we still going to sit there and fa la 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 la, acting like Jay-Z is Jesus to the Black community, and through his wealth and his comfort, he's going to bring all of us to the promised land?
Jay-Z is exclusively selling some album or whatever in Target, knowing that Black people have been boycotting Target for the past year. And I know Jamal Bryant was like, the boycott is over, but we didn't name him spokesperson of anything. But the funny thing is, people are like, this is very COINTELPRO situation, because when we were boycotting the NFL with Colin Kaepernick, the NFL hired Jay-Z. So we're like, oh, it's a pattern at this point. I'm old enough to remember the digital drop with his wife, Beyonce, in 2013. And because she did a surprise digital drop album, Target refused to sell her album in the stores. So Beyonce said, I do not care, and went right on over to Walmart. She went to Walmart and then paid for not almost everybody. She paid for people's groceries in the store. She made it like a whole spectacle. So Target has been on BS, and Target has been on BS with his own family. So it's very weird that he is doing this. Jay-Z, we already know he's a capitalist. He thinks the dollar will help save us, and that mindset is not new, but it is still problematic.
Jay-Z is never beating the sellout allegations. He has consistently shown us that he prefers profit over principle. So he has partnered with Target to release an exclusive unreleased album with Target and Target only. The problem with that is that the Black community is currently and has been boycotting Target for more than a year now. And this really isn't some small boycott. This boycott has cost Target billions of dollars in yearly revenue. And in the midst of that, what does Jay-Z do? What he has always done: sells us out in order to make a buck. And I don't want you to think I'm lying, and I don't want you to think that I'm overreacting here. So let's run down all the times that Jay-Z has sold out his own community. First of all, there was the whole backdooring of Dame Dash to get Rockefeller. Yeah, that. Then there was the Colin Kaepernick situation. We all witnessed Colin Kaepernick lose his job in the NFL because he decided to protest police brutality by kneeling at the games. While we're all protesting Colin Kaepernick getting fired from the NFL, Jay-Z steps in and says the time for kneeling is over. We need to move forward. Whatever. Okay, let's move forward. What initiatives are the NFL and Jay-Z going to put in place in order to address the original cause of Colin Kaepernick's protests? We're all thinking, okay, maybe they'll put $100 million behind body cams for all police officers throughout the United States. Or maybe they'll put $100 million into a legal fund for victims of police brutality. Instead, we got to see him curate the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Instead of victim advocacy, we got Rihanna, Usher, Kendrick Lamar, and let's not forget about the Barclays Center. Okay, while Brooklyn residents are protesting and boycotting the building of the Barclays Center in Brooklyn because they felt like it would severely harm and hurt small business owners and residents that lived in the area, what do? The Brooklyn Nets call up Jay-Z and get him to be the face of ownership for the Brooklyn Nets, a familiar face at that. Jay-Z was born and raised in Brooklyn. So he gets the Black community, the Brooklyn community, on board with building the Barclays Center. And what happens? He dips with his less than 1% ownership of the team. Allegedly it was less than 1% ownership. He dips. And multiple small businesses end up having to shut down. Multiple residents are displaced and lose their homes, and Brooklyn ultimately ends up being gentrified. Now, I would love to sit here and say that I'm surprised by all of this. I would love for this to just be some big coincidence, but honestly, I'm not surprised.
But I think, like, Jay-Z is a capitalistic man. Like, he is the definition of a black capitalist.
I made that video over 3 years ago, and everything that I said about Beyonce and Jay-Z in that video has quite literally come true. And it's crazy to me because I was talking to a family member, older generation, who were talking about black wealth capitalism, and I understood the disconnect between the older generation and the newer generation. Whereas when it comes to people like Jay-Z, the newer generation has more information and knowledge about how Jay-Z got to where he got to, i.e., right, choosing to partner with Target, a company that rolled back programs to help people that look like him in order to celebrate 30 years of reasonable doubt. Now, the difference between the older generation is that they still view Jay-Z as someone aspirational. They view him getting involved with the Super Bowl as aspirational, even though he owns less than a fraction, 0.000000005% of the Super Bowl, which really means, as his job title is, he is only in charge of the entertainment portion of that Super Bowl. So is that aspirational? Choosing not to have a say in how the league is moved and operated, but only having a say in who gets to perform at the Super Bowl, who essentially gets to tap dance in front of the masses. That is aspirational to the older generation. And when people ask the question, oh, how is he supposed to enact change? How is things supposed to be different? Well, back in 2020, Beyonce released an entire list of black businesses to support during Juneteenth. This was after she released Black is King, which is her best album, by the way. But the coddling of black billionaires has to really stop because the resources and the information is available to them. At this point, they're choosing to do something that goes against their own community. And that's what any Jay-Z critic has tried to get people to understand. Why is it in the interest of his own community to go and partner with Target, who one deliberately went and sabotaged Beyonce's 4 album, I think it was. The rollout to 4 was so messy during that whole collaboration with Target that I don't even think she has partnered with Target since. But 2, again, partner with a corporation that has rolled back a program to help people who look like him get into spaces and help give nuances to issues that are going on, not just in America, but around the world. That is the point of DEI. Because the world is so diverse now, it helps give nuance to a world that once lived in a binary code. Pun intended, but things are not as black and white as they once used to be.
Money transcends race, and black elitism in the wrong hands is the example of this. And that's what we're seeing with the whole Jay-Z situation. As we often see, once you reach a certain financial gain, there is an illusion that race no longer exists because you have the one thing that will transcend race. I call it an illusion because that's exactly what it is. While race is a social construct and something that is made up, it is very real in our society and how we treat other people and the effects from it. And this is often what we see with a lot of black elites. And I'm talking specifically about black elites because black people, we have a unique experience when it comes to racism and all the isms. Once they reach that certain pinnacle, they no longer have to care about black issues. They can choose to dibble and dabble, and they usually rarely dibble and dabble in it. And what they choose to dabble in comes from a place of fake relatability. It's something that they used to be able to relate to in like their past life when they were in closer proximity to black people. And Jay-Z's case, more specifically, an artist's case, they use that relatability and they move it to exploitation. It becomes exploitation when they start to get in their songs and they rap about when race was a factor for them and all that. But when it actually comes time to do something and stand up for something and boycott and all that, they're nowhere to be found. They're doing things like Jay-Z where like, you know, that we're actively boycotting Target, and you would have one of your most famous albums, his first album, if I'm not mistaken, sold in this store, and you know Mo's gonna go and buy it. Like, why would you do that? And he's doing it because he doesn't truly care about any of the situations that everyday black folk go through. Because once you get to that pinnacle, once again, there is no race. The only race you see is green. The only race you see is money. So when that money talk, they gonna talk right back. They gonna speak whatever language that money speaks. You can actually take ASAP Rocky as another example, and I will actually never stop talking about this because this was crazy. During the Michael Brown unaliving and that movement, and when an interviewer asked him about Michael Brown and what he felt about what's going on in Ferguson, he said, "Why would I give a F about Ferguson? I live in Soho." And I just think that that's crazy because the Michael Brown situation could have been a very real reality for not only him, but as well as his loved ones, his friends, any of those people just a few years prior to his career taking off. And that's why I'm saying money transcends race. They don't have to care about it anymore because, as he put it, I'm in Soho. Like, ignorant. To these people, being black becomes something that you can turn on and off whenever you need it for your benefit. Last thing to wrap this up, something I want to talk about is that if you go to the hood, in which, let me set aside, we already know that there's coons and elitists and hard conservatives in black suburbia. But if more specifically, if you go to the hood and you talk to some of these men specifically, the only thing that separates them from conservative and far right ideology is money and the space to do so. You listen to a lot of their views on stuff, and I just be like, baby, you really far right. Like, you really leaning over that. Young thugs say they just need the platform. They just need the platform. Put them up there, and they're gonna give you a lot of conservative views. Their access to money is going to transcend the race.
Jay-Z's my favorite rapper, so the way he moves is so disappointing to me. We gave him, not me, because I've been side-eyeing him since this shit went down, but a lot of folks gave him a pass after that whole NFL deal. He basically stabbed Jermaine Dupri and Colin Kaepernick in the back and made a backroom deal with the NFL. And a lot of the stands were saying, he's playing chess, not checkers. We're going to see so many great things to come out of this deal. Just be patient, just wait. The only thing we got were halftime shows. That's the only thing we got. And ain't shit special about black entertainment. Folks, like, black people been entertaining forever. I think Michael Jackson was the first halftime show performer. I mean, we've been doing a halftime show. That didn't get us anything, right? Let's just be real about this. Jay-Z really could have signed that deal with anybody. He could have signed that deal with Walmart. He could have did it with Amazon. I mean, he literally could have did that deal with anybody, right? But he has more leverage with Target. I'm sure those meetings with Target is the boycott that black people have been doing with Target has been working. Their stock prices were going down. I think some of the shareholders actually sued them after this. So the boycott was working, right? So Jay-Z went into that meeting and leveraged his cultural cachet with us to get the best deal. The best deal for him personally was to work with Target because he can leverage the boycott. I'm sure he went into that meeting and said, hey, I gotta, Beyonce is my wife. We are black royalty. And so we can get these niggas back into Target. And he leveraged that to make a deal for himself that benefits him.
If you haven't realized it yet, they're running a campaign against us. Yes, a full-on campaign. And it's evolving. Sure, we left them off when they came at us with black people that really couldn't even complete sentences. Then they realized black people wanted articulate and intelligent people. So then they ran this clown out, proving that a person could be educated and know absolutely nothing. You weren't going to be able to just put any black person in front of the black community and think we would embrace them. We would pull receipts. We continue to demonstrate being black ain't enough, which is why we weren't having it with Kanye. And Lil Wayne lost all credibility. This is when they started to increase the stakes, like in 2020, when Biden was running against Trump for a second term. And now all of a sudden, Ice Cube comes out of nowhere with wanting to hold Joe Biden and the Democrats with a contract with Black America, a contract he never was ever going to try to hold Donald Trump to in the first term. Before all you Ice Cube apologists come running out saying he didn't sell us out, notice he's not asking for a contract with Black America with Donald Trump. Notice he's not calling out what the Republicans have never done for the black community or what they're currently doing to the black community. I know a lot of you like to use his sound when talking about this current administration. Arrest the president, arrest the president. That man is a Russian intelligence. Yeah. He doesn't use that drop right now, even though it would be most apropos. Don't you find that ironic? Oh, Ice Cube is chilling now. He's not talking about arresting the president nor fuck the police. And why would he when you have Trump loyalists in your back pocket? See, some puppets you can't see their strings. They continue on their quest for low-lying fruit in the black community. Calvin. Oh, Calvin. Then there's Nikki McGrift. I don't need to say anything. But as we came into 2026 under this current administration, black people started to get it. The light bulb started to go off. We started to realize the power of commerce and what our dollars could actually do. We started boycotting businesses, doing away with DEI programs. Target took a hit. Oh, they absolutely were feeling it. What they do? Like a jack-in-the-box, out pops a pastor advocating that the boycott was over and we were going to go back to the stores. And nobody sent for him. And then comes the latest move by Target. And there you have it. Going for relevancy and iconic black people with voices. And this is how you know you're making a difference, when they go to these lengths to try to influence you. I'm not going to play the game of semantics. Black people are too smart for this. Jay-Z is doing for Jay-Z and his family. He doesn't give a damn about black unemployment or the rollback against DEI programs. He is worried about his business. We must be worried about black business, our community, our lives. That's where our energy needs to be. Damn a Jay-Z and a Target campaign that's going on. I would say the boycott don't stop, but I'm not calling it a boycott no more. As many black influencers on this app have eloquently stated in this past week, here's a couple right here. Please follow them. They are excellent follows. It is no longer a boycott. It is a wealth of transfer. See, we're already spending the money. We're actually spending the money. The problem is we're spending the money on people and businesses that are not supporting the black community and are advocating the things and the hardships that directly negatively impact the black community. Our new mantra is a simple one. Support who supports you. See, if you support only who supports you, everything else will take care of itself. Where you go, who you with, and the money you spend, and who and what you spend it on. See, if you're only supporting who's supporting you, you don't have to be outwardly talking about not supporting Asian businesses or ones that don't value black people. How many times on this app do we see black people fighting to be in restaurants, fighting to be in stores, fighting to go into businesses that are openly showing they don't value black lives? There are only so many politicians that are openly anti-racist, advocating against legislation that negatively impacts the black community, are fighting against systemic laws. See, you don't have to say Democrat or Republican. You just say, I'm going to support who has been supporting my community openly. We have Democrats right now who are silent, won't even speak of Donald Trump in negative light, and have just remained silent while all that's going on. This is not about them voting or having the numbers. This is about their voice. Add that to the list of Democrats who have voted to censure Al Green, or voted to support the big bullshit bill, or to vote to open the government back up, or any other Republican legislation, or to support funding for ICE, whatever. Those are not the Democrats we need, because those are not the Democrats that are supporting us. Pour your money into people and businesses that are pouring back into you and your community. It's that simple. How else would it make sense to do it any other way at this point? Just because they're throwing coins at somebody else to influence you? If you know your history, then you've always known the more coin they spent, the stronger the slave.
Jay-Z has done it again, and people are pissed. And by people, I mean not me, because I didn't expect anything less from Jay-Z. This Jay-Z and Target partnership announcement has people in a stir on the timeline, bruh. So Jay-Z announced a partnership and exclusive deal with Target in the middle of black people supposedly boycotting Target. So this would apparently be where, Target will be releasing an exclusive anniversary edition of the 1996 debut album Reasonable Doubt. if you guys have forgotten why black people are boycotting Target, let me remind y'all. Back in 2020, Target came out the blue and said, listen, man, all right, the pain and the plight that black folks is going through, we empathize. All right, we want to give $2 billion to black initiatives. Target also said, listen, we believe employment would also help the black community. So we're going to put in DEI initiatives to make sure we make a concerted effort to give black people an opportunity to get employed by Target. Target 5 years later still hadn't given that $2 billion they pledged. So when Donald Trump came with the DEI is dead, is over with, Target then used that as an excuse to say, well, we're not giving it $2 billion because Donald Trump said DEI is done. We don't have to get $2 billion. Black folks says, nah, you not doing that. No way, you is not. Oh, we need that $2 billion, bro. Oh, we need these initiatives to be in place. So black folks said we are boycotting Target because they played in our faces. Now, the discourse is happening online. There are people who are going as hard as they can against Jay-Z. And then obviously there are the Jay-Z defenders who are making an excuse for Jay-Z. Now, I'm agree with the latter. I think Jay-Z is despicable. I think this is shameless.
Jay-Z is an annoying old token black that always intercepts whenever we got something going on here at the bottom. So last year you have us boycotting Target and not shopping there, trying to get something working because they're taking out their DEI initiatives and whatever they had going on, programs as far as stuff like that, just to help out, get more of everyone who's DEI. So that's everyone who's not white men. Anyway, so here comes Jay-Z intercepting that. Do you see what it is? This deal only helps Jay-Z. It doesn't help the rest of us, the collective, which is what we're doing this for. We're boycotting for the collective. It's not just Jay-Z getting it's not just, one person gets a deal. It's helping the collective of the black people. His deal with Target only helps him. It doesn't help the collective. His deal with Target helps him. And if some black people choose to start shopping at Target now, that helps Target. AKA the white owners. Like, it doesn't help the collective. It only helps Jay-Z. And this is what this nigga always does every single time. He plays cover or he intercepts for whites, for elite whites, not even just whites, but the ones on top. So you got him at the NFL. Oh, Jay-Z's in the NFL. He picks the NFL performance. Bro, no, he doesn't, bro. He is there as a black face because it does look weird that the NFL is 70% black people, black men specifically, and all the owners and coaches are white. Well, mostly white, like 99% white. So he's just there for a black face and to get black people to, calm down. He came especially in the era of Kaepernick, So we have this older black guy who has a lot of street cred among black people, and they use him as that. He's a token. He only gets deals for himself. He does not help us. I don't care that Kendrick is performing on the Super Bowl. Okay, cool. The NFL is 70% black men. He should be performing. That's a given. But here you go, Jay-Z, always coming in, bro.
Has Jay-Z paid folks rent and helped them figure out how to get these high-ass groceries and gas? And I missed the memo somewhere? Because I am always confused that whenever this man is in a headline for something seemingly controversial, folks throw on a cape like if they jumped off the bridge, Jay-Z would be at the bottom to catch him. The reality is, Jay-Z did a partnership with Target, while black folks have been saying, hey, we're not going to shop at Target. That is a problem when black people have been trying, especially in this administration, to assert our power and say that our existence, our dollars matter, and put some respect on. The same guy that made an attempt to derail an entire movement when Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee during his NFL game in protest of Black lives, in protest of black folks being massacred. Then Jay-Z turns around right in the middle of this to do a partnership with the NFL and then says out of his mouth, we are beyond kneeling, as though Sean Carter had ever gotten on a knee. The same guy who posterized himself for the Barclays Arena in Brooklyn, which led to mass gentrification in his own community. And he only owned 1/5 of 1% of the Barclays Center and then sold it. The same guy who recently combed out his Basquiat wig piece, but was posed in front of this Basquiat painting with the Tiffany diamond. And Basquiat's former assistant coming out and saying, hey, Basquiat was actually an anti-capitalist. This is disrespectful to his work. The same guy that was sitting at this very table, busting it up with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. In all of this time that Target has been consistently a part of conversations with regards to the black community and a boy, they still have yet to come out and specifically state that they stand 10 toes behind the black community. And Like, he legitimately don't even need to partner with Target. Like, is everybody okay?
So Jay-Z aligns with Target to bring us the Reasonable Doubt 30th Anniversary Edition, Target exclusive, double vinyl. And before you ask, yes, that Target. The same Target that black people would, yeah. Look, man, I just gotta ask, how long? How long are y'all going to let this same cycle repeat itself before you say something about it? Because you've done a fabulous job of ignoring it. But after a while, it's like, bro, come on. You want to talk about tone deaf. Like, because that's a word y'all love to throw around. Oh, this is so tone deaf. It's so tone deaf for this person to do this. Black people have been talking trash about Target, have been boycotting Target all over the world for a little while now. And yet again, Mr. Jay-Z finds a way to align himself with people that are pissing off his people. NFL pisses off black people, Jay-Z aligns with the NFL. The white elites that wanted to gentrify Brooklyn and bring in the Barclays Center was pissing off the Brooklyn residents, Jay-Z aligns with them. The Republicans that have been pissing off black folks for years, Jay-Z has dinner with them. I mean, it's just been example after example after example. But y'all gonna just keep letting this man get on stage and give y'all this super pro-black image, and I'm hip-hop, and this is where I am, and this is who I am. As soon as he get off stage, he on the phone with the white elites, like, yeah, so what's the next deal? Yeah, they'll be mad about that, but, you know, they'll get over it. I'm Jay-Z. I don't know when, but sooner or later, you Hove worshipers, sooner or later, y'all gonna have some explaining to do. I mean, it's funny because y'all spend so much time trying to place these Republican, MAGA, capitalist allegations on other people, when the whole time, in reality, the person you looking for is right here. Right up under the nose. Or you're aware of that and you're placing the allegations on other people to try to keep us from focusing on the person that you love. Regardless, it needs to stop.
People are so pro-black until it inconveniences them or until it's something that they want to be a part of. So I've been seeing a lot of posts defending this whole Jay-Z Target situation, and I can only imagine it's because you like Jay-Z, and I can only imagine it's because you want to go buy the Jay-Z album, an album, by the way, that has been out for 30 years, an album, by the way, that most of us already have multiple copies of between streaming, the CD when it originally came out, yada yada yada. Excuse my chip nail. But I'm kind of disappointed because some of the people that are putting these posts up are people that I kind of rock with. But because Jay-Z is your fave, because you love Jay-Z, now all of a sudden you're comparing it to all the other failures of the black community. Oh, so we so mad at Jay-Z now, but ain't nobody say nothing about blah, 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 blah. Oh, we so mad at Jay-Z now, but y'all still ordering from Amazon. Oh, so now we have to quantify it. I just find that to be very interesting.
So, I heard your favorite rapper is partnered up with Target. He done got y'all money and ran and said he don't care about no boycott. I can't. See, this is why I said on my previous video, I would never, ever support that man in anything that he does anymore. Because right now, that's such a slap in your face after y'all done bought all those tickets out on Ticketmaster for him to announce he partnered with Target. He did that with the NFL. When y'all said, oh, we boycotting, he said, let me go take care of the music portion and make black people come back on over. Nailing is over. Told Kaepernick, we past nailing. Okay, so I guess we passed boycotting Target, right? Okay.
You done calmed out them locks and released some bullshit. Jay-Z is seeking the benefit of the doubt and partnering with Target, celebrating 30 years of his album, Reasonable Doubt. And folks ain't having it. It's disappointing to see Jay-Z partner with Target when black consumers have demonstrated the power of collective action. And partnerships like this can dilute that leverage. Rather than standing in solidarity with communities, Jay-Z is lending his influence to that corporation. Don't you have title? Why not release it there? For $40 a coonery at, pardon me, slip of the tongue, a copy of the album could be yours. If you decide to step your I don't care nothing about Target's diversity, equity, and inclusion rollback policy looking ass into one of their stores.
I keep seeing videos of y'all talking about Beyonce, get Jay-Z, Beyonce, do something about Jay-Z, get your husband. Man, if y'all don't realize that woman was groomed by that man. She was like, what, 17, 18 when she met him? Supposedly 18, 19 when they officially started dating, and that man was like fucking 30. But y'all don't want to talk about that, though. Y'all don't want to talk about how she was groomed by that man. Y'all don't want to talk about why she didn't leave that man after all that toxic bullshit he done put her through. Y'all want to say, oh, they were married, and you know, when you're married, it's not as easy to walk away, and you got something to fight for, and da-da. No. I'll be the first to admit I've never been a Beyonce fan. Horrible actress. Horrible. But at the end of the day, the signs are there. I don't know if God gave me the ability to just see shit, but I see shit. And I'm telling you right now, that woman cannot do nothing because she was groomed by him. She is going to do whatever the fuck he tells her. She is like that role she played in with Jennifer Hudson. That role. Just listen to Jamie Foxx. She is in that mentality, that mind space to where she gonna do whatever he says because she think he has his best interest, her best interest at heart, when really he only looking out for himself. Imagine how big Jay-Z blew up. Now, I've never been a Jay-Z fan either. There are some songs that, you know, hey, okay, they're classics, yes. But at the end of the motherfucking day, outside of those songs, I'm not gonna go out and buy no Jay-Z record. I'm not. I wouldn't even try to fucking, back in the day, put that shit on a fucking disc and burn it. Like, no. Now, Nas, on the other hand, you know, but that's besides the point. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Beyonce being groomed by Jay-Z and everybody acting like it was normal for a 30-year-old man to go after a fucking 17, 18-year-old woman or still child, new, legal adult, but fundamentally in the mind, child. But, you know, hey.
Jay-Z's partnership with Target and LA artists revealing that Kendrick Lamar is screwing them over is once again proving that birds of a feather flock together. As someone with a background in community work, and as someone with a background in Black studies, particularly Black studies with focus on religion, one thing I've always been annoyed by are individuals who use the Black struggle to play on the emotions of the Black community for their own self-gain. Jay-Z has done it plenty over his career. You know, no need to even get into all the examples because I've talked about them before, and I think we all know what they are by now. Target being the latest example of just betrayal after, you know, just a couple of weeks ago, you know, rapping at the Roots picnic with his afro, and you know, he's so Black and proud, right? And then also we see someone like Kendrick Lamar, who used really a significant portion of his career to try to cater to his Blackness, and especially in 2024 when he tried to weaponize the culture to go against Drake. And these people, to me, they remind me a lot of preachers in the pulpit of the church, specifically the Black church, who play on the emotions of their congregation to rob them of resources, to abuse them at times, mentally, physically, and we know what else. And there's really no difference in them. Like I said, I have a background in Black studies with a specific focus on religions. And one of the reasons I left the church a long time ago, in my teenage years, and I'm 40 now, is because I picked up on this. And, while I think that religion can be a beautiful thing, I realized that there were a lot of people in these institutions, like the church and other institutions, that look to exploit people for self-gain, and they play on their emotions and their vulnerabilities. When I got into Black studies, as a young man, you talk about, a guy going 18, 19 into college from high school, and I started doing community work. And this isn't to say everyone that I encountered in Black studies or doing community work was like this. However, I noticed that there were parallels with the church experience, in that there were people within those communities who were using Black struggle and Black pain to play on the emotions of people for their own self-gain. And they would do the same things that the ministers were doing in the church. They would rob people of their resources. They would abuse them. They would exploit them, and just use them up. And just like the church, and this is someone with the background of Black studies, and someone who was raised in the church with grandparents who were ministers and stuff, just like the church, I also tended to start to stray away from those circles as well in the Black, quote unquote, conscious community. Because I found that, while there were people there who did good work and who meant well, there were a lot of phonies there as well who didn't do good things and who were playing on the emotions of people for self-gain. And that's what Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar are. I mean, and I picked up on it. From Jay-Z, I picked up on it from childhood. But Kendrick Lamar, I picked up on it years ago. And it's just becoming more and more apparent that these two individuals really don't give a fuck about Black people, and that's been my biggest gripe with them, because, it's one thing to fake being a gangster or fake being rich or fake being whatever. When you start playing on the vulnerabilities of people's emotion when it comes to their spirituality, and when it comes to our struggles, Black people, I draw a hard line. Like, those people to me are the scum of the earth. I won't even say what I think of them completely on here, because I wanted to be able to post this video. But that's the worst type of individual, because those things are sacred. Those are sacred spaces to me. And to use those spaces to basically push your own corruption for self-gain, you're just a piece of shit. Jay-Z, you're a piece of shit. Kendrick Lamar, you're a piece of shit. That's all. Peace.
From the clips, you can see Black folks are disappointed. The word that kept coming up over and over is sellout. Now that's a heavy word. It's a word with a long history in the Black community. It's the word you use when someone chooses personal gain over collective progress. When someone uses the community's love and trust as currency and then spends that currency on themselves. People weren't just mad, people were hurt, because this wasn't some stranger doing business with Target. This was Jay-Z. This was someone who had built his entire brand on the idea that he came from the bottom, that he understood the struggle, that he represented something real. And now here he was, in the middle of a fight his own community was waging, choosing to stand on the other side of the line. Social media lit up. People on TikTok were making videos, sharing their anger and their disappointment. Some of the common things you heard was, he's a billionaire, he didn't need the money, and this is exactly what he did with the NFL. That last point, about the NFL is one we are going to come back to in detail because it's central to understanding why so many people weren't surprised. And here's the issue. Jay-Z is not just any celebrity making a neutral business decision. Jay-Z is someone who has built his image and his brand specifically on being pro-black, on representing where his people came from, on being a symbol of black excellence and black power rising from the bottom. When that identity is baked into your brand, when it's part of what you sell, then how you use that platform matters. It becomes part of the deal. You can't rock an afro at the Roots picnic, performing for your people just weeks before this announcement, and then turn around and sign an exclusive deal with the corporation those same people are boycotting, without there being a contradiction, a real one that people have every right to call out. And beyond the image question, there's a practical question nobody has answered. What did black people get out of this deal? Not Jay-Z, not Target. What did the community, the people who built Jay-Z's empire by buying his music and pouring into his brand for 30 years, what did they actually receive? And the honest answer is nothing. Here's where the story gets bigger than Jay-Z and Target. Because if you zoom out and look at Jay-Z's career, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Not even close. There is a pattern, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with Colin Kaepernick and the NFL, because that's the example most people know. In 2016, Kaepernick began kneeling during the national anthem to protest police brutality and the systemic killing of unarmed black people. The NFL responded by essentially blackballing him, and that was the message the NFL sent to every black man in the league and in the country. Keep your head down. Black America rallied behind Kaepernick. People were banning jerseys, boycotting games, making it clear that if the NFL was going to punish a man for peacefully protesting the murders of people who look like us, then the NFL would feel real consequences. And then years later, Jay-Z announced a partnership with the NFL. He became the league's live music entertainment strategist, essentially the man in charge of the Super Bowl halftime show and other major cultural moments. When announcing the deal, Jay-Z said something that cut deep. He suggested that it was time to move beyond kneeling, that action was more important than protest. The community's response was one question. What action? Because here's what the Jay-Z and NFL partnership actually produced over the years that followed. Halftime shows, Rihanna, Usher, Kendrick Lamar. Great entertainment, genuinely. But nobody could answer what happened to the actual cause. Police brutality is still happening. Accountability is still missing. And Kaepernick still not playing football. Years later, there are actually fewer black coaches in the NFL than there were before Jay-Z took his seat at that table. Then there's Brooklyn. When developers announced plans to build a massive arena in the heart of a historically black Brooklyn neighborhood, local residents pushed back hard. Small business owners, families who had lived in those blocks for generations, they organized, they protested, they made clear what this kind of development would mean. Displacement, gentrification, rising rents, the erasure of black community that had survived for decades. And then the developers called Jay-Z. Because of course they did. Jay-Z was born in Brooklyn. He grew up in the Massey Houses projects. He is Brooklyn, or at least that's the image. And if anyone could bring the community around to accepting this arena, it was him. It worked. Jay-Z became the symbolic face of the Barclays Center. He performed at the opening night. His presence alone made it easier for many in the community to accept something they had been fighting against. What did he actually own? Less than 1% of the team. Some reports put it closer to a fraction of a fraction, and eventually he sold even that tiny stake. What happened to the community he used his name to settle? Exactly what the protesters said would happen. Small businesses closed. Long-term residents were pushed out by rising rents. Brooklyn neighborhoods that had been black for generations became unrecognizable. Gentrification moved through like a wave. Jay-Z was long gone by the time the damage became undeniable. And then there's the original story, the one some people point to as the template for all of it. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Damon Dash was Jay-Z's partner. They built Rockefeller Records together from nothing, the label that gave Jay-Z his platform, the foundation of everything. The details of what happened between them have been disputed for years, but the broad strokes are these. Jay-Z made moves that ultimately pushed Dame Dash out of the label they built together, and Jay-Z walked away with the larger piece. Dame has spoken publicly about feeling blindsided, about deals happening without him, about being cut out of something he bled to build. Whether you take Dem's full account as gospel or not, the pattern is there from the beginning. When the choice comes between personal advancement and the loyalty to the people who helped build you, Jay-Z has a long history of choosing the deal. So what does all of this tell us? It tells us that Jay-Z operates by a very specific code, and that code is not community uplift. It's using proximity to blackness, to black struggle, black culture, black pain as leverage in negotiations with powerful institutions, closing deals that benefit him personally and leaving the community with the symbolic wins, the halftime shows, the opening night performances, the anniversary vinyl at Target. The Target deal is not an aberration, it is the pattern, playing out again, right on schedule in June of 2026. Now, I want to go somewhere a little deeper because this conversation is not just about Jay-Z. This is about what a certain level of money does to people, specifically what extreme wealth does to black people who came from nothing and what it means for the communities they came from. There's a phenomenon that comes up again and again, not just with Jay-Z, but with many high-profile black entertainers, athletes, and executives. Once they reach a certain financial level, race, which once defined their experience, shaped their worldview, limited their opportunities, starts to feel less present in their daily life. Not because racism stopped existing, not because the system changed, but because money buys insulation, money buys access to neighborhoods, institutions, and circles of power that used to be closed. Money can create a life where the day-to-day weight of being black in America barely touches you anymore. And when that happens, something shifts in how you see the world. When you live in a mansion, fly private, and your circle consists mostly of billionaires and executives regardless of race, it becomes possible to start feeling like you've transcended the thing, like race is no longer the dominant factor shaping your reality. And for some people at that level, the only time blackness becomes relevant again is when it can be monetized, when the cultural currency of being authentically black, of being from the projects, of having lived the struggle, of speaking that language fluently can be brought into a boardroom to close a better deal. That is what Jay-Z's critics are really saying when they use the word sellout. They're not saying he's a bad rapper. They're not denying what he has built. They're saying you are treating blackness as a business instrument. You are leveraging the love and loyalty and collective pain of your people to negotiate deals that pay you personally, and then you go home to your mansion while the community stays exactly where it was. There's a phrase that keeps coming up in these conversations. The only race he sees is green, and whether that's completely fair to Jay-Z or not, it points to something real. There is a version of black success that looks remarkable on the outside, the Forbes covers, the business empire, the cultural legacy, but that extracts value from the community rather than returning it. And here's the hardest part of this conversation. Jay-Z didn't build any of this without black people. Black people bought his albums going back to 1996. Black people packed his concerts, built his mythology with their loyalty across 3 decades. The community didn't just support Jay-Z, they made him. And when that community needed him to simply not actively work against them, not even to fight for them, just to stay out of the way of something they were building, he chose the deal. And that's what makes people feel used, not just disappointed. Used. Let's zoom out for a moment and talk about what this boycott actually represents, because it is genuinely bigger than Target and it is genuinely bigger than Jay-Z. What black consumers have been doing throughout 2025 and into 2026 is something that doesn't happen often in modern American history. Real collective economic action, not just posting on social media, not just expressing outrage, actually redirecting spending, actually withholding billions of dollars from a corporation that broke its promises and thought it could get away with it. And the evidence shows it worked. Target felt the pressure. The numbers reflected it. Executives were addressing it publicly. That kind of sustained collective action is rare. It's hard to build and even harder to maintain. It requires discipline, patience, and the ability to resist the many organized attempts that will inevitably come to break the momentum. Which brings us to the strategy at play here. Because if you look at the sequence of events, Pastor Jamal, who declared the boycott over without any community authority to do so, then the Jay-Z Target announcement, these don't look like coincidences, they look like a playbook. When a boycott starts costing real money, corporations look for ways to neutralize it, and one of the most reliable ways to break a black-led boycott is to find a trusted, respected black voice to legitimize returning. The function Jay-Z's deal serves is obvious, whether he intended it that way or not. His name, his face, his 30 years of cultural authority, all of it becomes a reason, maybe just a small reason, but a reason for a black consumer to walk back into a Target store. I'll just pick up the Jay-Z vinyl real quick. That's how momentum breaks. Not all at once, slowly, one transaction at a time, but something different is happening this time. The community is calling it out in real time. People are naming the pattern. They're saying, we see what this is, we understand the function this deal is serving, and we're not going back regardless. That level of awareness is new. It represents a shift in how the community relates to its most celebrated figures. The old model was simple. If a respected black icon does something, we follow his lead. The new model is more sophisticated. We analyze who actually benefits and make our own call. Support who supports you. That's the operating principle emerging from this moment. Not support whoever has the longest legacy or the biggest catalog or the most impressive business portfolio. Support who supports you. That's actually a more powerful framework for collective action than anything that depends on a celebrity cosign. So is Jay-Z a sellout? That depends on what you mean by the word. If you mean someone who had genuine loyalty to the community and then abandoned it, the answer depends on whether you ever believed the loyalty was real in the first place. If you mean someone who has consistently, repeatedly, over a career spanning 30 years, chosen personal gain at the exact moments when the community needed something different, then the receipts are there. They go back to Dame Dash, to Brooklyn, to Colin Kaepernick, and now to Target. But here's the deeper lesson underneath all of this. Black America cannot afford to place its power in individuals. That model has never worked. It does not work when the individual is a pastor who declares the boycott over. It does not work when the individual is a rapper who negotiates a peace deal with the NFL. And it does not work when the individual is a billionaire who uses his cultural standing to cut a deal with the very corporation his community is fighting. Collective power does not live in a celebrity. It lives in the behavior of millions of ordinary people making consistent, intentional choices about where their money goes. Jay-Z's Target deal only matters if people let it matter. If the community holds the line, the deal is meaningless. The leverage he brought to that negotiating table, I can get black people in your stores, evaporates completely, and Target is left holding an exclusive white vinyl that the people it was designed to attract won't buy. And that is the actual power, not what Jay-Z does, what the people do. The boycott does not end because one man signed a contract. The movement does not dissolve because one celebrity chose his business over his people. The only thing that ends it is the people choosing to end it. And everything we are seeing in June of 2026 suggests the community is not done. They are sharper, more organized, and less dependent on celebrity validation than they have ever been. Support who supports you. Spend where your money grows. Build what your community needs instead of fighting for scraps from institutions that have shown you exactly who they are. That's the real message of this moment. Not devastation over Jay-Z, not even betrayal for those who saw this coming, but clarity about who has always held the real power in this equation. And it's the people. It has always been the people.
If black people is boycotting Target and Jay-Z sells his album exclusively at Target, black people is not Jay-Z's target demographic for that album.
So what do you all think? Do you think Jay-Z genuinely doesn't care about the boycott? Or do you think he made a calculated move, knowing his fans will defend him no matter what? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I would love to keep this discussion going. Otherwise, that's it from me. I also have another video specifically tailored for you. And if you enjoy such kind of content, please click up here and enjoy. Also, consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel and helps YouTube recommend this video to a wider audience. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, the Joy Report out.